Hi, everyone, and welcome to Consciousness is Sexy. I'm your host, Patty Alfonso, and this week is going to be a very interesting show in my very interesting point of view. Our topic is my reality, this reality, your reality, what? And this actually came about in many different ways. And I want to start off by saying I was recently last month or 10,000 years ago, I don't know, at the X-Men class in Houston that was facilitated by Gary Douglas and Diva Diaz. And I don't know, it was one of the class days and we were going right along, and Gary, all of a sudden I hear him say, take Patty, for example. She looks normal, but then she opens her mouth and you're like, what? So I think maybe this show may be one of those what kind of moments for some people, and I'm really excited to play with this topic. I chose it because I was sort of pondering consciousness is sexy and tuning into all of the energies of what we play with during the show and what we talk about. And what popped was this, thing that I mention a lot, which is, this reality doesn't teach you how to do this. And this reality doesn't really encourage us to be different. And this reality doesn't really encourage us to be ourselves. And this reality, and I just got the energy of all of the times that I've talked about this reality. And in Access Consciousness, if you don't know, I'm an Access Consciousness certified facilitator. And in Access Consciousness, we talk about how when two or more people align and agree about something, that a reality is created. Now, a lot of people, and me included for a long time, thought about this reality as just like here on this earth where we are living, every day. And as I started pondering the statement, when two or more people align and agree on something, a reality is created, I went, well, there's 7 billion people in the world. And let's just say that one person has a conversation with another person, and then they align and agree on something, so a reality is created. So if there's 7 billion people in the world and just one person spoke to another person, then, we all talk and align and agree on things, agree on various things, the sky is blue, or that person's an asshole, or that person's amazing, or whatever it is that you are aligning and agreeing on. So with 7 billion people, then there's at least 14 billion realities simultaneously being created. And if another person is added, then multiply that and multiply that. So when we're talking about this reality, what is it really that we're talking about? And we all know, I'm sure you guys have been in situations where something occurs, something gets created with someone, and you both have two completely different realities about what just occurred, two completely different universes about what just occurred. So I kind of want to just let that simmer for a minute. And I want to give an example, actually. As some of you may know, I am in Florida at the moment, and I live by the beach. And we have this thing that happens every year around, I guess January through April. And it's this kind of invasion of the snowbirds is what a lot of people call it. And it's mostly people who live in New York or who live in Canada, where it's freezing around those months. And they come here because it's warm weather, and they have apartments here, and they get to go to the beach, and they're all walking around. So there's this infusion of snowbirds. And it's so funny because the snowbirds who are coming from Canada or New York or wherever else they're coming from are walking around in flip-flops and shorts. And then the people who live in Florida most of the time have sweatshirts, and it's the same exact weather, but we're all cold because we're here all year and the summer months are so hot. So for us, those months are chilly. But for the snowbirds, those months are really warm. So that's just kind of an example of the different realities that can actually exist simultaneously. Now, with the whole, there's 7 billion people on the planet and there's got to be at least 14 billion realities, I was still pondering that and asking questions and looking at that and just being aware, when things are created between people, that they may have a completely different reality about what's going on than what my reality is about that. So then there's their reality, there's my reality, there's this reality. I mean, in this conversation alone, we've probably created at least 10 realities just in these first 10 minutes of this call or show. So, gosh, where I was going. Oh, so then I took that a little step further and I started, well, actually, it was right before I went to the Symphony of Possibilities class in New York recently. And I started pondering, for me, I had the awareness that I had glumped the earth with this reality. And I started, because I've been playing a lot with the earth energy and receiving from the earth and including the earth in my life, and not only gifting energy to the earth, but receiving energy from the earth and receiving contribution. And in playing with that, I was like, wait a minute, the earth's reality is not this reality. And all of a sudden, let's say that this is, the earth, and I kind of had it like this, right? Here's reality. And I had it like this. All of a sudden, it went like that. And so there was this, space between the earth and whatever this reality is. And then I was like, oh, what is that? That's so interesting. And I was like, well, if the earth has her own reality, and then there's, this reality, which we've already established is at least 14 billion different realities. And I was like, well, where am I? And where are we? And by we, I mean those of us who, I'm going to say this very loosely, who are seeking consciousness, who are creating consciousness, who are choosing consciousness, who are constantly changing and evolving and out-creating this reality and creating new realities and different realities. So I was like, where are we? And then it was like, wow, we are the space between the earth and this reality. And this is just my very interesting point of view, right? I don't expect you or desire you to align and agree with me on this. I'm actually putting this out there as an invitation for you to really start looking at, what is your reality? What do you desire your reality to be? We talk a lot about your point of view creates your reality. So you're actually in every single moment and every choice that you make, creating your own reality. And so in becoming aware of this in my reality and in my universe, and pondering, well, if this reality is not the earth's reality, then that I was perceiving the energy of the earth with this question of what's the earth's reality in my universe. And I did talk a little bit about this last week on the show, but I'm going to reiterate it this week just in case you guys missed it. And if you want to, the show I think is on YouTube right now, so you can go check it out. But so for a moment, put aside everything I said and let's perceive the earth's reality. And for me, what that looks like is perceiving nature and the ever gifting and receiving quality of nature. The sun is always gifting energy and receiving energy. The plants, the grass, they're always growing and flourishing. And even, when a plant dies, then something else shows up, whether it's a weed or you plant a new plant. There's just this like ever expanding, ever gifting energy that the earth has in bees, right? And so when I look at that, right, and I'm like, okay, so there's the earth, always gifting, always receiving. And at any moment, I can lower my barriers and pull energy from the earth and receive from the earth and be grateful that the earth is here and that I'm here with a body on this particular earth, on this particular planet. I mean, you know, if I was like in like Mars or Pluto, things would be very different. I don't live there now, so I don't know, but I think they would be very different, right? And so this beautifully abundant earth that we live on, with hurricanes and cyclones and snowstorms and sand, and, you know, during the same months, it could be freezing and snowstorms and craziness in Canada and New York, and at the same exact time, simultaneously, it's sunny and beautiful, and the ocean is roaring in Florida, and then simultaneously, somewhere else across the world, there's a different weather pattern. So to me, like, the magic and, gosh, I'm having trouble finding words, the magic and the abundance and the ever-gifting quality of the earth and her reality is just, it just blows my mind, really. And so then I started playing with, what if my reality could be more, you know, like the earth's reality, with this ever-gifting and contributing in this ever never-ending beauty and grace. And, you know, the earth also is willing to be whatever energy she requires to create whatever, and I'm calling her a she, just, I don't know why, but whatever, just go with me. Whatever she requires to be in any moment, you know. And I talked about this last week, like if she needs to shake off some flies, she has no problem creating a tornado or a hurricane or whatever. Like the earth actually has no point of view about whatever energy she needs to be. And so I wonder what it would create if we could perceive and tune into the reality of the earth and what we could receive from that, rather than obsessively trying to fit into this, right? This very limited reality that doesn't actually encourage us to be all that we can be and to be everything, to be every energy. So that is my ponderings on my reality, your reality, this reality, the earth's the reality. Like, what is all that? And then to take that a step further, then I started looking at like, well, what's really true anyway? What's really real anyways? Any of this, any of the like insanities that we become aware of in this reality, are any of them really true? Or are they all just creations based on our points of view? So that's my sort of ponderings on this particular topic. And what I would like to invite you to is to destroy and uncreate everything you've decided your reality is. And everything that is, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and everything you've decided this reality is. And everything that brings up, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and everything you've decided that's real and true, can we destroy and uncreate that? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And for those of you who may not be familiar with this wonderful jabberish that I'm saying, it's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. It's a magic wand. We ask a question, we run the clearing statement, and energy changes, and it opens up the space for new possibilities. So if you want to get more information about that, you can go to theclearingstatement.com. So what energy, space, and consciousness can we and our bodies be to outcreate all realities with total ease. And anything that doesn't allow that, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. I am wondering if anyone has any questions. I'm going to go ahead and promote some of you lovely people to panelists so we can all get together. Jean-Marc says, sometimes I feel that there's a gap with how I'm perceived and my reality. Okay, so everything that is, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine, shorts, boys, beyonds. And there's actually, so Jean-Marc, wow, there's a lot of different topics in that. Let me just keep oh gosh, I hope you guys got here with enough time to listen to everything I was saying. You'll get the recording. But anyway, so Jean-Marc feels that there's a gap in how he's perceived and his reality. So this is really interesting. So what have you decided about you that isn't actually allowing you to perceive, know, be, and receive all of you? And everything that brings up, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. If you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, we can play with this a little bit. It's actually a really cool question because there's, in this reality, in the 14 billion trillion realities that get created, what exists in a lot of that energy sometimes are projections from people, expectations, separations, rejections, judgments, decisions, conclusions. That's actually kind of what this reality, not your reality or my reality or the Earth's reality, but this reality sort of feeds on, is judgment and projections. So there's, the sort of what is in other people's reality about you, which is really just based on their points of views and their judgments and their projections. There's you and what you know about you, and then the lies and projections and expectations that you've tried to fulfill. So therefore you've made yourself really small to try to be all those things that everyone else wants you to be in all of their realities, because there are certain things that they desire, right? So if you want to unmute yourself, let's play with this and see what, I'm going to go ahead and change the screen here. I'm also my director on the show. So Jean-Marc, where you be? Oh, I need to go. Hi.
That's a good question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me? How's the sound? Hi, everyone. So nice to hear you.
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay, cool. So tell me about that question. Like, was there anything that I said that kind of pinged that you would like to play with? And then we'll see if we can get to the question.
Yeah. And what I was thinking is that I get the sense that I have a lot of people approach me and say and look at me like I'm some kind of superstar, and what I see is that there's a gap there, because if I'm perceived as a superstar, why am I filling the gap with odd jobs in order to fill in what I need to cover in terms of my expenses? So there's yeah.
I totally get that. So first of all, let's play with this energy, because there's kind of, and this is not applied to you specifically, but there's this sort of energy that we search for in having other people validate our realities. And in this case, you're like, well, my reality is that I'm, trying to struggle to pay my bills and whatever. So are you looking for them to validate that reality, which is really just one reality? And then there's how they see you from the outside, right? And maybe in their reality, Like, it doesn't matter that you're struggling to pay your bills, and they see what you're creating and they're perceiving an energy of what you're creating in the world, and it's just like, wow. So any and all of the barriers that you've created that don't allow you to perceive, know, be, receive everything, all of you, will you destroy and create it? That's for you, Jean-Marc. Say yes.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine, towards boys and beyonds. What else is there? Someone's crunching. Can you mute yourself? Who's eating? Oh, thank you. There's definitely, I think those are projections. So there's that space of, this is how people see me and this is how I see myself. And sometimes there can be a gap between that, or a space, not a gap, but like a space between that. And projections can either be, you know, a good, fun, awesome projection is just as much a projection as a not so fun, not so, you know, bad kind of projection. A projection is a projection. So all the projections, expectations, separations, and rejections that you're buying that don't allow you to be all of you, will you destroy and create that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. None of that stuff is real anyway. It's just someone's interesting point of view. Now, what can you create and be that is beyond the idea of what you can create and be? And anything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. This is the thing too, like in this reality, in this reality, we tend to really judge ourselves based on how much money we have in our bank account and based on that, rather than perceiving the energy of what you're creating in the world, being with the joy of what you're creating and that energy, and then allowing money to follow that joy. We're not really taught in this reality. See, I do it all the time. We're not really taught in this reality that money follows joy. And anywhere that you're not allowing, anywhere you're buying into the starving artist reality, everything that is. I knew I'd get to it eventually. Everything that is, we destroy it and create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine, shorts, boys, beyonds. When I was younger, people would ask me, what do you want to be when you want to grow up? And at first I would say, I want to be happy. And that, of course, question wasn't good enough for people, so I had to come up with something, you know. And I went through like the normal, I want to be a lawyer, but none of that shit was really my reality. And so when I really tuned into the energy, I was like, I want to be a cross between Marilyn Monroe and Mother Teresa. And I wanted to be an actor, and I wanted to be in movies, and I wanted to do all this stuff. And everything that people told me, oh, that's such a terrible field. You can't make money in that. Nobody gets famous in that. Like not nobody gets famous, but not that many people make money in that. So there's this starving artist reality, quote unquote, mentality, quote unquote, that exists around the arts and around culture and around all of that. So everything that brings up, can we destroy and create it? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyond. What's your reality with your business? What's your reality? What do you know about what you're creating and being in the world? And everyone listening, you guys can apply this to anything and everything in your life. What's your reality with your relationship? What's your reality with your business? What's your reality with money? What is your reality with money? I grew up, my dad had the point of view that money doesn't grow on trees, that money, you had to work hard to make money, and you just, and then you had to like hoard it and save it, and you couldn't spend it. And he was always stressing out about money and money. And I remember, gosh, when was it? It was before I started using the tools of access consciousness. But this is, anyway, whatever. I digress. That's a different point. This was part of like when I started using the tools of access, where my entire universe went, yes, this is what I've been looking for. Because I realized that that was my dad's point of view about money. And when I started looking at what my reality with money was that money was fun and easy, and I could create it and get it from anywhere and everywhere at any moment that I desired. And I wanted to work less and make more money. And so I started, every time I noticed that point of view, because that's all it is someone's point of view. Your point of view creates your reality. So that point of view of money doesn't grow on trees. It's hard to make money, you have to work really hard. That didn't belong to me. That wasn't mine. But I was functioning from that. And when I realized and became aware that for me, money was fun and easy and could come from anywhere, and I started playing with that energy, then money became a lot easier for me. And I went from, at the time, this was like, 10 years ago, I was working a 5-day-a-week job. I went from that to working twice a week, and then I got a raise, and then so all of a sudden I was working less and making more, and then I had more space to play with the things that I really wanted to play on. So let's see what else we have. Are you good, Jean-Marc? Are we good for now?
Yes, good for now. Thank you.
Thank you. How does it get better? Okay. So Sylvia, hi, Patty, Sylvia from the Netherlands. Hi, honey. How are you doing? I have a question. Sometimes I perceive different realities and dimensions. If something I like what I perceive, I have no clue to bring it into this reality or my reality. Yes, for everyone who's like, what'd she say? Yes, you can. I'll reiterate, there's like at least 14 billion different realities going on, and you can perceive all of these different realities. And Sylvia's been doing access consciousness for quite a while. So what would it take for everyone to desire that level of awareness and perception, and everything that brings up right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pot, online, shorts, boys, beyond. So in access consciousness, we have a term called extrapolation. So Sylvia, what capacities of extrapolation are you refusing that you could be choosing, that if you chose them would actualize everything you desire with total ease? And anything that doesn't allow that, can you destroy and create it? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pot, online, shorts, boys, beyond. So extrapolation is a capacity that a lot of us have that we actually don't really know that we have, because again, it's not taught in this reality. But in my reality and in the reality that we are creating with access consciousness, we talk a lot about extrapolation, and it's this ability to be aware of a lot of different things, right, whatever those may be, and then to extrapolate from all of those awarenesses and create something totally new. Let me see if I can give an example. Well, what I was talking about earlier in the show, like I was aware of all of these different, things happening about what is this reality and what is my reality and what is that and what is the earth and what is this and da 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 da. And from all of that, I extrapolated, oh, so there's the earth's reality and then this, they're not together. Oh, there's this actually, and I'm the space. So in that awareness, I actually created something totally new in my reality, in my awareness about all of these different realities that are going on. Gosh, I sure hope that makes sense. So Sylvia, write down that clearing and run it. And yeah, what are you refusing about your capacities in you that you could be choosing. Julie says, I'm stuck in that same energy as Jean-Marc. Darling, let me know if you require more on that beyond what I talked about with him. How does it get better? Catherine says, my body and I are really enjoying this conversation. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for being here. I love these shows. I'm so excited and happy that I get to have my own space again and create them. Catherine says, I begin every morning barefoot on the earth and connect to the energy of the earth. Every day I receive gifts and I have so much joy and gratitude for the earth. How does it get better? And what would it be like? What would all of our realities be like if we took that moment? Let's take it right now. Everybody, just allow your body to breathe. Lower your barriers. Expand your energy out. Way, like all the way to Pluto, farther than you have ever expanded your energy out before. And don't worry, you're already doing it. And now perceive the earth. Be present with your body. Noticing your body breathing. Noticing your body sitting in the chair, simultaneously still expanded out to Pluto and perceiving the earth, because you can, because it can be that easy. Awesome. And now just allow yourself to receive from the earth, from the plants, from the birds. And it's so interesting, the moment I say that, I become aware of the birds singing outside. What are you all noticing? And just receive. And would you be willing to allow the earth to show you the contribution that you being on this earth is already? And anything that doesn't allow that can be destroyed and created. Right and wrong, good and bad, Hawk and Pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So you guys can do that, a few times a day, in the morning, whenever you're feeling like my energy even right before that was getting kind of like a little heady and a little bit like going really fast. And I mean, I'm normally fast at a lot of things, but that's besides the point. But notice how the energy shifted and changed just by including the earth and getting present with the earth and getting present with your body. How does it get better? Thank you, Catherine, for inspiring that. Sylvia says, I will write it down and run that clearing very often. Thank you so much, Potent Patty. Thank you, Sylvia, for being here. And I just have to do a shout out to Sylvia because she kept messaging me, when are you coming back with your show? I missed my weekly date with you. So thank you so much for just for nudging me. I really appreciate it. I'm really grateful because I do love doing this show. And Jean-Marc says, yes, me too. I heard the birds outside as soon as you mentioned them. So this is also like that space of communion where you lower your barriers and you get really present with everything that is right here, right now. What would it be like if we never tuned out the sound of the birds? If we never tuned out the wind and the sun in our lives, like what contribution would that be for you and for your reality? And anything that doesn't allow that, we destroy and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm so grateful. How does it get better? You can catch the replay probably either on Facebook or on YouTube. I'll also send out an email. I would love for you guys to come play with me on the Consciousness is Sexy Facebook group. And how does it get better than that? Thank you all so much. I will see you next week. And I wonder what we'll talk about then. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.